Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Civilization 6 as Canada. Progress is going incredibly well. We are making well over 750 tourism, nearly 500 gold per turn, over 1,300 culture per turn, and we haven't even reached our final form because we're still building all of our broadcast centers, and we also need to get to level 3 relationship with all of these cultural city-states, which means a single one of these broadcast centers could be pumping out somewhere in the region of like 20 culture for me. We've got an absolutely hilarious number of national parks as well, and we are just cranking out and raking in the tourists. The yields in my empire are insane, and I'm having like such a wonderful time with this game in particular. I just kind of need to figure out what I'm doing with Kingston. Now, Kingston is a cool city because it has potential for good production, but it doesn't have good production right now. So I may stop off for a builder in here and just slap down a couple of lumber mills because the city has good production, but it could be better. Right, we're sitting on 3 envoys now. I don't need suzerainty of anyone. I may nab suzerainty of Vilnius for that extra theatre square adjacency and then pop 2 more into Kumasi, and that'll give me 3 extra culture from every broadcast center, which again, is just like an amazing way to scale up your empire in the late game. Yes, I think I settle a city here. And then I settle another one eventually over here to the right. So we come in here, grab ourselves another one of those settlery boys, and we can get these camps online as well. Like, look at the difference between these 2 tiles. This is before it's improved as Canada, and this is after it's improved as Canada. Then don't forget, we also do have the Goddess of the Hunt Pantheon that's also contributing there. But again, that's insane. The fact that this city has literally spawned and is making 5 production per turn is kind of ridiculous. Now, one really important thing we need to keep in mind is that all these aid requests end this turn. So I'm going to go through and double check that I'm leading all of the ones that matter, and it looks like I am. Yep, as far as I can tell, with the exception of the one that's targeting me, I am leading in every single one of these aid requests by a wide margin, which means I don't need to spend my money on them. Also, I think it's really hilarious that Russia spawned in Canada and I spawned in Russia. Well, I mean, technically this is more like the European Russia, so Sweden spawned over there. But I just think it's really, really funny that we basically swapped places on the map. And it turns out that me being over here in Siberia was just better for me. Apparently, someone got war decked, and I think it was Mansa Musa, because I got dragged into a war against Gilgamesh and Pachacudi. I need to be looking into now as well, getting myself the Amundsen Scott Research Station. I need to get research labs unlocked before I can do that. I never unlocked irrigation this game. I never needed it, so I kind of just skipped it. But yeah, I probably should pick up chemistry here just to be able to get the research lab for the Amundsen Scott. It's not that I need it, it's that I think the game is more fun if I get it. The great thing is, I'm at a point now where I can just buy archaeologists and it's basically free for me. I'm at a point where the opportunity cost is just completely negligible. So every time I finish an archaeological museum, I just instantly get an archaeologist. And the same can kind of be said for my grove and my sanctuary buildings. I can pretty much purchase those instantly and then they immediately start paying themselves off. I mean, are you ever going to see yields like this ever again in a Civ game? Like, look at these 2. The overlapping grove thing is insane. Look at this tile. These are yields you would never see anywhere. Well, all my open border deals ran out with a bunch of people, so I'm gonna have to go through and pay for it now. I think as you get later into the game and the AI sees that you're going for a culture victory, they tend to get a little bit reticent to give you open borders for free, and they'll start asking for money. They still really highly value open borders themselves, so they don't make you pay too much. Like I'm being made pay like 10 gold or 2 gold per turn. It's on like tiny orders of magnitude when it comes to how much it actually costs me to get open borders. But it is an important distinction that you make from the early game, is that it is actually going to start costing you money in the late game to get open borders, because the AI isn't like completely stupid. It realizes that I'm winning the game, and it's saying, oh, you know what, I'm kind of reluctant to make this deal, but it won't stop itself from making the deal, which would probably be what a player would do. But I guess that comes to like a real question that players need to ask themselves is, do you want the AI to play like players, or do you want the AI to play like AI? And it sounds like a weird, dumb question, but it actually is an important question, because if you want the AI to play like players, are they simulating another real human? Which, at what point are you just trying to like simulate a real human, which is incredibly difficult? Or do you want to try and get your AIs to play like they are robots, to play like they have sort of different motivations than a human player, and they'll have different weaknesses, but you can give them different behaviors that make them interesting to play against that maybe a human player wouldn't be, right? There's certain behaviors that an AI might do that a human would never do, and that may actually be a positive for the game. And I think there is a bit of a tension point there between what people want from the game, because I often see a lot of people being like, oh, the AI is stupid, they do the wrong thing, humans would never do this. And I think that comes from like the built-in assumption that, you know, we want the AI to play like a player, which I don't think is a settled thing. I don't think that's something that I 100% agree with. So we've got the forest band here. You know, funny enough, we're heading over to Brazil, and we're gonna go ahead and try to do a theater square thingy here. Now, 26% chance of failure. Oh, they leveled up. Boom. Very nice. So 750 tourism generated, we sold 200 albums, and we got a promotion, and they leveled up. So that is basically the best outcome you can ask for with a rock band, is that they level up and generate a decent amount of tourism. I would say that like 90% of my rock bands die within the first 2 or 3 uses and never level up. And then 10% level up, and then 1% in total will ever level up twice and go on to generate insane tourism. I think the RNG on rock bands is just a little bit crazy and very, very swingy. All right, lovely. There's the Eiffel Tower. That's +2 appeal to every tile on my empire. Now, we also picked up environmentalism, which is a 25% tourism boost. So I believe this turn my tourism was 270-ish. Next turn, okay, boom, there it is, 1,101. So we almost got like a 30% increase in our tourism this turn alone from the combination of the Eiffel Tower and environmentalism. And now if you look at my empire, essentially every single tile in my empire is mega appeal. There's a couple of tiles, you know, in my industrial heartland and down the desert where it's harder to get forests that have lower appeal, but nearly every tile of my empire is mega appeal, which also translates into basically all of my national parks now are cranking out an insane amount of tourism. This Winnipeg National Park is cranking out 40 base tourism. Here's another one, 36 base tourism. Remember, the minimum tourism that these can generate is about 16. So we're almost doing triple. Well, not quite triple, but we're more than double, and we're probably going to be able to get close to triple once we pick up computers here. So yeah, this is like the true satisfaction that you get from playing correctly. Do I go ahead and pick up e-commerce? I don't think I need International Space Agency. I do need to pick up globalization in order to pick up some of these late game things. Digital democracy is good for defending against a tourism victory. Not much else though. It doesn't give you inherent tourism. Corporate libertarianism is really good for conquest, and synthetic technocracy is really good for science victories. It kind of feels like they want me to go to digital democracy, but I'm not sure if that's a step up over democracy. Like the 15% purchase with gold. I mean, like here, I forget, what does Future Civic do? Future Civic gives you governor titles and 50 diplomatic favor each time it's completed. So, like, if we really want to push hard for the late game, I guess we pick up distributed democracy and go for Future Civic. It'll also give us a ton of diplo favors so we can completely command things. Oh yeah, by the way, I just jumped to 12 to 12 diplomatic victory points. I have the option here, if I wanted to go for a Statue of Liberty. And you know what? Just for the memes, I think I will. I think I will go for a Statue of Liberty. And I'll also see if maybe I can get a little bit more production in this city. God, look at these trade routes. If I organize it by gold, I can trade with Niani and get 37 gold per turn. 5 food, 6 production, and 3 science, and one measly faith. That is insane. So I think I definitely trade with Niani. I'm trying to see, who do I not have a trade route to right now? I think I'm missing one to Egypt. So I'll trade with Thebes here. So with this rock band level up, there's actually a couple of really important points here. The rock band leveling up means its chance of dying from performing is lower, and it also gives us another promotion where we can pick something that gives us better success. I would like reggae rock, but the real question, does Brazil have any water parks? I think it's a little bit too early in the game for people to have water parks. So maybe I go for space rock here, because that gives me the option to perform on campuses. Somebody is stealing money from my cities, and I don't like it. But then again, I'm also stealing money, so it's fine. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. So we've quite a bit of room for great works of art, and what we really need is a sculpture from not Donatello or Michelangelo. So let's kind of have a look around. Maybe the Congo? Is the Congo even in this game? Oh my god. Who has like the great artist here? Oh, I was thinking of Brazil, not the Congo. I was just like, in my brain it was like culture civ, they're all the same. So he has a bunch of artworks. I'll get a Hieronymus Bosch. I'll get a Tahaku, and I'll see what he's willing to trade that for. So 50 gold per turn. It's a little bit steep. So I'll give him 100 Diplo favor with that deal, and I'll grab a couple of luxuries off him for 38 gold per turn. So the Maple Tree is locked, but the Hieronymus Bosch isn't. And I just need one more. Oh, I have a Rembrandt. There we go. Boom. We got a themed museum. So that's making me 12 tourism per turn. So I could use 2 more portraits from non-Rembrandt. Let's talk to Russia and see what they've got. They've got religious. They've got a landscape. I could use a landscape. I could also use these 2 great works of writing. They are expensive though. Oh, the good news is Russia needs iron, so that'll shave a bit of that price off for me. As will the furs. I'll pay that 70 gold per turn. It's a reasonable deal. Oh ho ho! Somebody's building the Cristo Redentor. Should I build that? Do I need it? How much of my tourism is religious? I don't think much of my tourism is actually religious, so I don't think I need the Cristo Redentor, and I don't have any seaside resorts. I could have maybe made a few somewhere. Boom, we're in the atomic era, and I think the industrial era ends next turn too. We have computers, there's 25% tourism boost. We're up to 1,361 tourism, right? We have nearly doubled our tourism in this episode alone. And I won the Nobel Prize in Literature, which means I get 20% cheaper rock bands and plus 50 album sales for rock bands. So now if I come into Hamilton, for example, right, and I go ahead and faith purchase myself a rock band and click on them, you can see they got 125 album sales. And album sales, I think, basically just make rock bands generate more tourism. It's like a very simple mechanic. It's like, but yeah, basically album sales are like a multiplier. So let's say you were gonna make, I don't know, 1,000 tourism, and you have 300 album sales. What that does is it actually multiplies the amount of tourism you get by this number with basically a decimal here. So if you have 325 album sales, you get 3.25 more tourism. Now it's a little bit more complex than that because there are other stuff going on, but that's like a rough approximation of how it works. I probably have to do a video on rock bands and explain how they work because it's actually a little bit more complicated than I give it credit for. One of my cards went obsolete and I can't remember which one it is. What did I just unlock? Globalization. Triangular trade is obsolete. I see. Sports media is pretty cool here. That's like an extra bunch of amenities. E-commerce. There's a lot of really good cards here, but I really do think it's time we started plugging in the tourism cards. So I think great works of art and artifact are the move right here. That's an extra 69 tourism. Yeah, we got the meme number. Nobel Peace Prize is an option in this World Congress. I think I'll vote it up because that extra Diplo point and the free great people, I like it. It's a ton of extra great people that I can schnab for myself. I feel like spies executing siphoning funds being better is fine by me. Otherwise, I just don't care about this religious stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and pick... I'm going to pick a religion at random, basically, and put 150 points into it, because 150 points isn't much. Disrupt rocketry was actually passed. Well, that's a diplomatic victory point that I missed out on. I'm at 13 of 20, and I'm very, very close to a culture win as well. This is a really cool thing. I'm 9 turns away, according to this. I don't know if 9 turns is accurate. It's probably going to be a few more. But I'm starting to finish my broadcast centers. And this is where things can get a little bit awkward, because I'm actually not sure what to build in a lot of my cities. Maybe I could go for things like wonders, like a 23-turn estadio. The only other real thing I need to do is to just start cranking out my neighborhoods to squeeze out an extra little bit of tourism in the late game. And probably what we're going to focus on. I like being able... I really love having Valletta, because when you settle a new city, you could just faith purchase stuff and then immediately get to work on something like that will improve your empire. All right, we got another rock band, the Zealous Puppies. Hell yeah. We'll send those to Hungary, because I think, again, Hungary is the guy. So here's how this number thing works, right? So I expect to generate 250 tourism from this venue, and that's because it's a theater square with an amphitheater, right? And that's what the tourism is set at. If I go over to this here, it's 1,000 tourism, and that's because they have a university. The university gives you 500 tourism for performing on it. And then also, if you have the Space Rock promotion, you get plus 500 tourism if the campus has a university. So that's 1,000 because it has a university, so that's 1,000 there. However, there's a 26% chance these rockers will make it their final gig. So even though I'm getting more tourism here, it's actually higher risk. Whereas if I go back to the theater square, it's only a 16% chance of failure, and that means I'm performing at level 4, which means I have a 37% chance of upgrading. So we generated 1,000 tourism. That's because the baseline was 250. That was then multiplied by our 3.2, and you get one as a baseline. So it was 1 plus 3.2. It rounds down. So we got 1,000 tourism out of that. There's other modifiers and stuff. I really need to dig into it and show it off. But yeah, we want to be looking for theater squares to perform on, because that's where we have our highest level, and it'll be where we have the best chance of leveling these guys up and building up their album sales even more, and we could pick up more promotions. You know, the way the RNG works, I think the baseline failure rate is like nearly 50%. It's close. So what you really need to do is you need to level up and pick abilities that give you extra levels on certain things. So we're going to go for digital democracy here. We're going to lose a lot of our economic policy cards, but we'll gain a lot of wild cards in return. So there's going to be a ton of amenities, a ton of stuff, and let's make sure that we have all of our tourism-y stuff plugged in. So we have satellite broadcast, heritage tourism, online communities, and monarchic legacy, because I like the extra Diplo favor from that. I don't think I need democratic legacy. I have an extra diplomatic card, which gives me options like merchant confederation, potentially international space station for an extra 100 science per turn. That's not terrible. The other option could be to plug in gunboat diplomacy for the extra envoy points, which would mean we would get envoys quite a bit sooner. And I think I like the idea of getting a little bit of extra science, just a little bit more, so I'm going to plug that one in. I do really like the idea of having 5-year plan for that extra production plugged in. And then I've got a wildcard slot. Maybe it's something like frescoes, so we can get great artists sooner. Yeah, I think frescoes is fine here. We'll get a few extra great artist points and be able to theme our stuff a little bit easier. Now, we're in the modern era, which means dedication time. Unfortunately, it's the next era that we want to get a golden age in if we want to be able to do the extra tourism from national parks. But in the meantime, we could pick up Reform the Coinage again. It's a perfectly reasonable thing. It gives me +3 gold per specialty district on foreign cities for every trade route. It's pretty good. Near future governance, I'm going to pick up next. That'll give me 3 envoys and a governor title, and we can start working on the end of the civic tree. Power-wise, most of my empire is powered. I think I'd like to get a coal or oil power plant in Brantford. It'll probably be an oil power plant. So even though I'd really like to be doing these... Oh, there is one more theater square. Let's head over there, actually. Yes. So I want to be doing these missions inside Brazil, because if I remember correctly, Brazil is one of the most competitive civs in the game. So I want to be generating tourism directly against them to knock down how many domestic tourists they have. Now, here is a really cool card. The Hallyu. Being able to choose any promotion on my rock bands is going to make it so that I have a much better chance of actually getting them to level up. My rock bands still aren't amazing, but it will certainly help out. So we have a 16% chance of failure here and a 37% chance of leveling up. Boom. Lovely. So we generated 1,687 tourism. We got a Legends of Rock. Okay. Legends of Rock is literally the top tier performance. Legends of Rock, I think, applies a multiplier to how much tourism you get. It has like less than a 10% chance of triggering most of the time. I think if you get a max level rock band and you have +2 skill for the particular performance you're doing, you can have a 40% chance of pulling off a Legends of Rock. But this is insane. So now that they're promoted, every single performance they do now is boosted, right? And I can pick another promotion, which means that I can double boost again how good their performances will be. So leveling up a rock band, it actually exponentially increases how successful they can be. Now that I'm finishing off my broadcast centers, I'm starting to get my neighborhoods online. I need to get my shopping malls. I know I have literally infinite, like near infinite amenities, but I want to get my stadiums and my neighborhoods done. I want those extra yields. I want that nice stuff. All right, so it looks like maybe a cultural city-state was killed, which I'm okay with. That's fine. Once I pop this into Antananarivo, we're going to go from like 1900 to like 24, like, yeah, there we go, 2000. I said 2400. I maybe overestimated how much culture that would do. I was thinking of like, oh, what if all of my things were boosting? But that's if like none of these were applying and then I just made them apply. So I kind of mixed it up in my head there. It's worth a couple hundred extra tourism, which is nice. I mean, the really cool thing here is we are generating 1,200 base. We're getting 30% from recruited great people and then 35% from city-states where suzerain. So the multipliers here are just insane. I like how we're just exploring the world with like an ancient era warrior, and it's like the year 1505. Everyone has like high-tech cities, and people are starting to think about like, oh, how do we build tanks? And you just got my little warrior wandering around. All right, let's do another one. Now this one I don't have high hopes for. They'll probably die. All right, so we did 500 tourism and 50 albums. That's actually not a terrible result. The problem is these guys are only good on entertainment complexes, so I kind of have to send them around the world on a very, very specific tour schedule, only really stopping in entertainment complexes because I want them to level up. Boom. We are now in the future era because we just got cultural hegemony, which means we can plug in Hallyu. I think I will plug that in over frescoes. All these other ones are pretty important to me, but frescoes, not so important. Hallyu is incredible. I don't know if it's going to apply to this rock band because he earned his promotion before I did the thing. But being able to do surf band like isn't terrible in of itself. So I'll grab surf band because that opens up harbors as potential places to do rock band things. But now these guys are level 3 and they perform 2 levels higher on theater squares, which means they're performing at a level 5 on theater squares, which is the near maximum, which I think gives them about a 50% chance to upgrade and a 25% chance to do a max level rock concert. So we're gonna be like, this is like the one time I've been super lucky, and it's my forest band. Like one of the first rock bands I got have actually gone on to be absolute legends. All right, we got an industrial era thing. We got one from Mansa Musa as well. I need another one from someone else. Theming can be quite tough here, but I think I can theme this museum, and I may actually be able to theme this one as well. So I've got 3 themed museums, and I'm kind of getting close to maybe theming some more. This color coordination thing is incredible because all you have to do is match the colors and make sure the numbers are different, which is fantastic. It just makes my life so much easier. Now it's telling me that I'm about 14 turns from victory, but I think that's not quite right. We did just pick up replaceable parts, which means my farms are better. We are stealing gold. About 161 out of 221, so about 9 turns from winning. I would say that I would probably be closer to 20 to 30 turns. I think that's a more realistic estimate. The nice thing is my Edmonton to Kumasi trade route ends in 6 turns, so I might be able to get a trade route with Portugal finally by using the trade connections. I'm trying to see who else do I not have a connection to. Oh, I can reach all the way down to Poland. Okay, that is incredible. So we're going to trade with Radom, even though it's not the greatest trade route, because I'm trading with another unique player, which gives me a tourism boost. 75% tourism against Poland here, which again, you always want to be optimizing because this is going to be a very, very fast and very tasty win. Now, one unfortunate thing is I don't have my, I don't have the, card plugged in, the builder card. So I'm missing out a little bit on that front. So I've got 2 landscapes from 2 different artists in here. Got sculptures, portraits. I feel like great works of art are harder to theme. One thing I can do, however, is maybe the ones that I'm having trouble theming, like Michelangelo and stuff, I could maybe open up the music menu and just move the National History Museum stuff out. Then if I come in here, I can like, the things I'm having trouble theming with, like my spares, I could just pop them in here. And I think making that kind of room just makes my life a little bit easier. I'm going to need more great writing room, so it might actually be time to build some wonders. So if you look here, there's only a 9% chance that these guys will fail on a theater square. So I'm going to go see if I can perform on another theater square over here. I really want to get these guys to level 4 because once they're level 4, they become literal gods. They can do basically unspec'd, like unspecialized rock concerts, and their performance metric is insane. I think it's like a 16% chance of failure and a more than 70% chance of just like overwhelming success. See, is there anything up here that I really want? Carbon recapture is neat because it helps prevent world flooding and stuff. There's a diplomatic victory point up here, which is kind of intriguing here because I am at 13. I may as well just grab that. Broadway has room for great works of writing, but I don't know if I can justify that to get rid of this. This is worth 10 tourism, so I think I'll skip Broadway. Pretty much every single city. Oh, did I forget to research? I did. I forgot to get capitalism. Whoops. Not like we needed a comrades. Yeah, I forgot to get capitalism. Which, you know, is a genuine mistake because it lets me build shopping malls. The most important contribution to society that capitalism has made, of course. Naturally, the shopping mall. Capitalism gives me access to the shopping mall, which is worth 4 tourism. It's actually 6 base tourism because I have the multipliers. And it's a ton of amenities. It's a little bit of extra gold. It's a nice building, almost entirely just for the amenities and gold. But the extra tourism is mwah, chef's kiss. 9% chance of failure. And what did we get? Oh, we got a 3rd tier performance, 2,000 tourism. Very nice. We just got to keep rolling that dice until we get those guys leveled up. I feel like I'm really invested in the journey, in the journey of that band now. Like I need to know how it all goes. And I almost don't want to win until like they retire. But they started touring in like 1480 1582 or something. It's currently 1524, so they've been they've been going for a while. Let's start getting more national parks. Feels good, man. Sitting on 4 envoys right now, and I think the big thing here is to try to just like nab suzerainty of someone pretty easily. Like I can just yoink Preslav for 2, and maybe getting to work on yoinking Auckland back as well for 2. We excavated the world's first shipwreck and got ourselves an industrial era artifact from Menelik. Oh, it was actually Renaissance. Weird. Well, I just need one more Renaissance from someone else, and then we can start maybe theming a couple more museums. All right, another performance. Let's see how we do. Boom, Legends of Rock, max tier performance, 2,500 tourism, 200 albums sold, and a level up. Okay, this is now a god unit, okay? It's max level, it has 3 promotions, and it's getting an 8-time multiplier to its album sales. You just wait until if I pick the right promotion here next turn, this guy is going to start literally conquering the world with tourism. Zealous Puppies, they did a performance and they leveled up. Did they like adjust the RNG? Did they like just like change the rock band RNG? I feel like I've been getting way more success this game. Normally my rock bands just insta die. Like they just walk straight up into a place, do a performance, and then that like Roblox noise plays and they die. I mean, I could say it's luck, but I feel like it's pure skill. Like there's only one way to get rock band results like that, and that's just being really good at the game. It's like playing Ogre Magi in Dota 2. You know, you get that quad multicast. It's skill, 100% unmitigated, unquestionable skill. You don't get to do your third one? I thought you get 4 promotions. Am I crazy or is it only 3? Maybe it's only 3. Oh shoot. Well, like look here, 60% chance of failure versus 9% chance to get 1,000 tourism. All right, let's see how we perform. Rising Star, 11,000 tourism. That is the power of album sales and a highly leveled rock band. We just got 11,000 tourism. Granted, that tourism only applies against a single player, but still, it's insane. The difference between that is this tourism up here in the north, you hear me calling the top of my screen the north. And at the top of my screen, this tourism applies individually to all civilizations, whereas the rock band tourism only applies to the tourism against the civ that you placed. So, you know, to get I'm getting 1,600 times the number of players in the game tourism per turn, because that pressure is calculated equally. Whereas that 11,000 number, that was only against Brazil. So let's do it again. All right, let's see how we do. Forest Band, boom. Second tier performance, another 10,750 tourism. That's almost enough to probably like trigger a win, to be able to like rip them down that much. Sarah Breedlove, yes. Yes, Queen, give me Sarah Breedlove. So she's incredible, again, because she gives me another 25% tourism rate towards civilizations that I have a trade route with, which means that this number is actually, if I do a UI refresh, it should update. Yep, I'm getting 100% tourism against civs I'm setting a trade route to. And you can see all these kind of multipliers in here. 50% for the Enlightenment, 40% minus for different government, 100% for trade route, 25% for open borders, 3 turns until I win. I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying this game. I am kind of sad that I'm never going to finish the Statue of Liberty, because I was looking forward to getting those extra points. And now is the really, really cool thing. So I have a rock band that can choose from any promotion. And what you want to do is you want to pick the one that gives you +2 levels. And unironically, the best one is Glam Rock, because lots of people build theater squares, and it allows you to have a really, really good chance of actually getting a level up on your rock band. Adrian! What artifact did you get me? I'm going to take a Nanmadol here. Industrial Nanmadol artifact. Cool. I need just one more, and then maybe theming can happen. Oh, yes. So Zealous Puppies, I think I take the theater square one as well. Wonders are cool. Wonders generate a lot of tourism. What you want to do is you want to go like Glam Rock, then either Pop Star, or it goes to 11, and then album cover art, and get them to level 4, and then just go nuts. Space Rock is really good too. But I really like Glam Rock, because it just makes it so much easier to level up your rock bands. It does take up a precious like slot in your dude's repertoire, but I consider that a worthy sacrifice. Oh, it's saying I'm gonna win in 1 turn. I think I do win in 1 turn, which kind of sucks. You know, there's kind of a bittersweet feeling when you win a game, in that you want to keep playing, because I'm actually having a lot of fun. You know, this was really cool. They also made some really interesting changes to where if you're dominant over someone, I think you get extra benefits on your trade routes. I think there's a way to see that. Oh god, why did I click on the available routes map when there's so many cities in the game? Let's just get off that screen because that made my game lag to hell. It's kind of disappointing that this trading post didn't give me the range to make it all the way to Portugal, except it did actually, because I'm dumb and I only just spotted this. Fucking Braga over here. I was like, wait a minute, I can trade with Portugal now. So that's the power of a trading post. It lets you trade further, which is pretty neat. Never get, not that it's necessary. I feel, again, but yeah, back onto the bittersweet thing. I feel like, and I don't know if I have been a big contributor to this, but it felt like back in the day, playing Civ wasn't about winning. And it used to be just about like enjoying the game and just having a good time. And now I feel like the Civ culture is very much so about getting the W, which is fine, right? Like it's okay to want to win the game. Like it's a reasonable thing to want. But I can't help but feel like, you know, it used to be that it was about the journey, not the destination. Not to go all Stormlight Archives on you guys, right? Or, you know, it's about the journey. But it really does kind of feel like Civ has become about the destination. Like, how do you win? How do you get to the W? I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, which is kind of why I've been interested in Humankind, because Humankind is less about, you know, you have a discrete win condition, like you win through science. Whereas Humankind is more like what you do throughout the game. We give you various objectives to achieve, and depending on how well you achieve those objectives, when eventually you get bored of the game, you can declare yourself a winner. And while I like, oh my god, second tier performance, 12,250 tourism. Yum yum yum. That is the power of this multiplier right here. Yeah, I feel like maybe Civ, and maybe Civ doesn't have to move away from the whole you have to like win mentality. I think that's okay, but maybe it would be nice to have a couple other games where maybe winning isn't that big of a deal. Like you know, who cares about winning when you play EU4? You play EU4 because it's just a really fun game. Nobody cares about winning in Crusader Kings 2 or Stellaris. It's about the journey, not the destination. And I think that's one thing that not necessarily is missing, because the game can be about the journey, but it's so gamified now that it just feels like it's about the destination. It's about how do we get to the W. And yeah, I don't know, it's just a thought that I've had. It's a thought that I've been mulling around in the old skull, and I can't help but feel that I was one of the people that contributed to that thing, to where, you know, it's all about winning. Because I feel like maybe this might be true. Here's a prediction I'll make. There's probably people watching this right now who never actually really cared all that much about winning, but as they started watching my videos, they started trying to win more. Whereas before, when I was playing Civ, when I first started playing Civ, it was kind of just about playing the game, and I wasn't approaching it with the mentality to win. But now when I go into a game, I'm solely thinking about that win. And maybe that's a mistake on my part. I need to maybe focus more on the journey and not the destination. Anyway, that's it for me. I love you guys so much. Let's check some graphs. Most important graph in the game, total religions founded. I founded 0. Also, I want to show off this culture graph too. Check that out. Look at that, that's juicy. Cities captured. I think I captured a couple of cities. Buildings constructed. This is fairly typical for me playing against a deity. I tend to be behind, and then I get to around turn 100 to turn 150, and then I pop the fuck off. It was actually a really, really fast win. What did I win on, like turn 220? That's one of the fastest culture wins I've ever had. So Canada feels strong. However, this wasn't like a perfect example of it, because there was just some weirdness going on there. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to call that the end of the episode, the end of the series. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!